We've got exciting packages in today. Today we're going to be doing our first mods to the WRX. Inside this package is actually a new shift boot. So this is from Stitch Boots. This is actually a gift from my best friend who also has a VB. And so he sent this to me as like a congrats, you know. We'd always talked about this shift boots and like what we would get. I'd always thought, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So he sent me one and I figured, hey, while I'm in there taking the shift boot off, one of the biggest like modifications that I see about this this car is to install this, which is a shift stop, which is supposed to make the transition from 1 to 2 a lot smoother. Now there's one on 5 and 6. It does need to be adjusted, and so I figured, hey, if I'm already pulling the shift boot off, we might as well get in there and put on a shift stop and kind of fine tune it, because there's one thing I notice is that there is a little bit of a sloppy throw from going into 1 and 2 and then 5 and 6. It does have like a lot of play. It leans pretty far, so we're gonna hop in and get started. Okay, now I'm not entirely sure what tools I need. Everything I saw online says you can just pull the shift boot up and it pops right out. I don't know how true that is, because when I did the short shifter in the Lancer, I had to disassemble like the whole center console. So we're gonna go ahead and just give it a shot and see what happens. But supposedly you just take off the shift knob and then pull the whole boot up. So let's give it a whirl and see what happens. So it showed in the video, they just kind of went right here. Oh yeah, look at that. And then it just gently kind of, now it's like this whole piece is coming with it. So let's actually take that out and see what happens. Okay, I think we'll take the shift knob off. Wow, this is a hefty shift knob, geez. Okay. So, and that's the other thing, is like this coming off, I'm not certain about. Get my hand under here and try to, there we go. Like just pop it off gently. Does this unscrew? That's the thing I don't. It's like, I feel like this should unscrew. Or maybe it, no. Gently rests, so, ooh, I got grease all over this one. There we go. All right, yeah, look at that, see? Easy. Okay, now, so it is gonna require a few Phillips screwdrivers. So I'm gonna go grab that. It also looks like there's a couple nuts, and then I know that the shift stop uses Allen keys. So we're gonna go grab a few tools and we'll be right back. All right. We are back. Okay, let's first get the boot taken care of. So that's gonna require some screwdrivers. I think it is the screws, okay. So let's just take off all the screws. It's not gonna hurt anything. This is one thing, like tearing up every car I've ever worked on has had like, 100,000+ miles, so starting to work on a car that's got no miles is pretty crazy. To right there. So let's go ahead. Remove all this. It's getting hot in here. I should have rolled the windows down. And then it looks like it's got some slits already for all of these.
Now right about here is where the hardest part of this whole thing came into play, is that the shift boot cover was just a little bit too long to comfortably fit inside the little bracket and to have the little plate attach and sandwich over the top. So you can see here I'm adjusting it a little bit, and then I realize, oh, some of it's sticking out and it's going to be visible from the top, so I need to trim that out. So I had to pull the whole thing back apart, go get some scissors, and then actually try to trim this up. Now luckily it was only off by maybe like 1/8 of an inch or so it didn't require cutting up too much and, you know, jeopardizing the integrity of the stitches in the boot. And I think this is probably done because maybe not every single one is done the same. And these are all handmade, so, you know, obviously if they're handmade, it's not going to be perfect like a factory, but I think overall it came out pretty great.
Yeah, there we go. All right. It's all nice and tucked in. Now we can go ahead and screw it all back together. Now I am doing these back screws first, just to make sure they hold that down. Oops. Now next up is going to be that shift stop, but after that we are looking at coilovers within the next couple weeks here, so that would probably be like the next mod video. But I'm a little bit on the fence about what brand I want to get. There's really, for these the 2025s, there's really only a couple options. It's the BC Racing coilovers, or the other option besides the BC Racing coilovers is Tein, or TN, whatever, TEIN, which is what I have on the Lancer. So kind of like going back and forth on which one we want to get. So leave a comment if you have a 25 WRX and you've used any of the other like coilover brands. Let me know, because I'd love to hear. As I'm new to this whole WRX modding game coming from Mitsubishi, I want to know what's going on with that. Okay, now we're gonna get to the shift stop. So this is just a piece of aluminum, and what it's gonna do is it's just gonna sit right in here. Now you can see there's two bolts. I don't know if you can see, there's a bolt here and a bolt here, and this is a factory shift stop. This is just gonna go on the other side, because is when we come into first, we can go all the way over, or we can even go into first here. But you can see there's quite a bit of fluctuation. Same thing with fifth, into fifth. And you can actually see where it hits, but you can see there's actually quite a bit of room there. And so what we're actually going to do is pull this one in tighter. So we're going to find kind of that, so like here's third, right? Now fifth, what we're going to do is find where is it that we can enter fifth. Like, where is the point? Right, not there, right there. So we're actually going to tuck this one in a tad more as well. Now, in order to do that, we're going to need to take these bolts off. So first, what I'm going to first do is get it out of the way.
Now just remove the two factory bolts for the factory shift stop so that we can input the new ones.
Now again, that's going to go over the top. They give you new hardware, obviously, because it needs to be longer, because it's got to account for the fact that it's now on top of this. So what I want to do is actually get it threaded. And I want to find, so where's fifth? So you can see how much play it has. So fifth, I'm going to tuck this up pull it out.
Now here's where I want to help you guys avoid doing exactly what I did. You can see I put on the shift stop and I'm sitting here and adjusting it and running through the gears. I didn't tighten the bolts tight enough at the very beginning, so I really want you to remember, don't tighten them all the way, but tighten them tighter than it's like loose and flopping around. Because what ended up happening was, as I was rowing through the gears, making sure that everything connected and went in smoothly, I accidentally bumped that 5 to 6 factory shift stop out of alignment, so it wouldn't go into 5th because it was too far over. So when I was actually moving into 5th, it was getting stuck.
Okay, so that's first, second, third, fourth. Oh. Okay. Just kidding. We got it all figured out. The fifth gear, I guess, would be this one, had shifted over way too much, so I was having to slam it because it was actually going too far over. So here, if we take a look here, so this one right here had actually slid over a whole bunch, and so I readjusted it, got it pulled back in, and so now we're at first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So we are all set. I can put this bad boy back together, and that was actually a lot easier than it, or a lot harder, I guess, than it should have been. A lot easier than I expected, even though I expected it to be pretty easy. There we go. And then we can get this back on. 90s Taco Bell shifter, you know? So, just a little touch of personalization. Something to hold us over while we wait for bigger and more complicated mods. So now let's go take it for a rip and see how it feels.
Now I took my car up for a quick rip to the grocery store just to test out the shift stop. Highly recommend. It's like $35 for that Billetworkz shift stop. I'll put the link in the description, and then, you know, it's $35. It took 20 minutes. You might as well test it out. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Check us out on TikTok, and enjoy the rest of this little clip and the audio of the exhaust.